Good afternoon, everyone, to this first live panel of the BSR Electric Final Virtual Conference. On behalf of the lead partner, Hamburg University of Applied Sciences, I warmly welcome you to this session lasting about 60 minutes now, in which we are going to introduce to you our BSR Electric project. Today, we have 4 panelists here in our round. Let me welcome Annika from Turku University, the representative of our work package 2, actually the lead of the work package 2. And we'll introduce you into this organizational specificalities later on. We do have Magnus Karlström from Lindholmen Science Park in Sweden, who is representing our third work package dealing with the use cases. Ilka, I forgot, apologies. He is also joining the work package 2. So we have a co-lead of work package 2. And finally, Merit Tata, whom we have here as well, is going to represent our work package number 4. I will give Merit the voice later on when it's her turn. But for the time being, you would see those persons, the panelist speakers shown on the upper right hand, and Merit on the lower bottom. Hello, Merit. Good to see you.
Hello.
Welcome to the panel. So let's get a bit deeper into the matter. We prepared a very brief overview of the project to you for those who don't know us yet. And I would like to start with telling you what BSR Electric is actually all about. We have been working together for around about 3 years now in a larger project consortium. And we are trying to jointly foster sustainable mobility in the Baltic Sea region, especially focusing on urban transport and urban transport systems. So we are doing the best we can to inspire the utilization of e-mobility in urban transport by showcasing feasible, implementable solutions. We are showcasing real-life use cases. We are testing new vehicles on the roads of the cities involved. And by all of this, we are contributing, or we're trying to make a small contribution to achieving the rather ambitious European targets. That mean the reduction of transport sector emissions and to become a climate neutral urban transport by the year 2050. Below on the slide, you can see the icons illustrating our use cases. In that sense, we touch everything but electric vehicles. So the cars are not in our focus. Instead, we focus on other micro and medium mobility solutions. In that case, you will learn a lot more about this later on. So now, some key facts on the project that are interesting as always. How big is the project? What kind of impact are we going to make with this budget? We have a consortium consisting of a total of 14 partners in a total of 8 countries around the Baltic Sea region. And you can see with on the small map that is pictured in the center that where the partners are located. So basically, we are all over the Baltic Sea region here, and each and every partner has a dedicated task or dedicated tasks in the frame of this project. We started in October of 2017, and this project is going to end on the 30th of September, so rather soon. And this is also why we have the Final Virtual Conference already now, where we can showcase our results and keep on promoting these results over the next months to come. We have quite a fine budget with 3.8 million. We do have a co-financing by the European Union, a large share of it as well. And my university is leading this consortium. Our consortium is multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary. We consist of universities, we consist of research institutes, we have city partners involved and municipalities as well. So more than one level, certainly. And we also have non-governmental organizations aboard. Now let's get to the next one. This is basically the bird's eye view of our key results of the BSR Electric, and it shows you a little bit of the way to actually today's date, where we now are showcasing and harvesting our results of the previous years. So starting with the kickoff, our first activity was actually kind of a scoping and an assessment to establish a baseline that we could use to measure and monitor against. Then the partners started to take up the work in their use cases, testing the micro level solutions on the ground and really getting a grip on the feasibility of these solutions. Lately, we developed an online learning module for decision makers and further transport system stakeholders who want to know more about feasible sustainable mobility solutions, how implementation could look like in practice and what can be learned. And today is the day of the virtual final conference. We wrote June 2020 and beyond because you may be aware that this conference is an open access conference. We have 2 days of live events and of course the open interactive platform prepared for you. But certainly this platform will stay open all the way along to the project end and even beyond. So you can come back and return to this platform whenever you want and check up on our final results and check up also on the partners involved and get in touch with them. So let's get to the next one. This is basically the heart of our BSR project, and Romanos and also the colleagues and the partners who joined our audience today would be of assistance and can contribute to these discussions and presenting more of them. Why are these use cases at the heart of the project? Well, basically, it is all about exploring the feasibility of these solutions, to make it as transparent as possible to convince or support stakeholders, decision makers in transport systems with basically the hard facts, implementation guides, etc., to drive electric mobility further in their local city environments. We do have urban logistics, we have other inner city logistics, we focus on e-buses, we have e-bikes, in terms of cargo bikes, for example. We do have e-scooters, a very culturally sensitive solution for specific countries. And we also focus on waterborne transport, the e-ferries and the feasibility of these kind of solutions that can very well be electrified. You will learn more about this and get a deeper insight, of course, when the colleagues start introducing what's behind all of that. This is basically an encouragement for you to join us, to still keep on joining our project consortium. Stay in touch with us. If you wish, you could take out your phone right now and take a picture of the QR code, which leads you to our expert LinkedIn group. You can also tweet or follow us on Twitter, and you can certainly feel invited to visit our website as well, where we prepared all our project results and where we did also showcase further information. Now, this is actually the end of this very, very brief presentation. And without further ado, I would like to thank you very much for this very brief introduction. Again, remind you, you can ask questions in the chat. We will monitor those, and I will take them up and post them to our speakers at a given point of time. Please feel free to make ample use of this opportunity. Now, as I told in the very beginning, we have our panelists here representing so-called work packages. The reasoning behind that is that we set up the overall project, well, as usual, by breaking down the individual tasks or areas of activity into a set of work packages. The first one is the typical project management administration, meaning that we do everything to get the partners kind of cleared and keep them focused on the actual work while we do everything around. We do have the work package 2 on the scoping. We do have the work package 3 on the piloting, and we do have a 4th work package dealing with capacity building activities. Now we have the representatives, 2 representatives, Annika and Ilka, who would take you a little bit deeper into the achievements and the results of the work package 2 in a first sense. So Annika, you're still on mute. You could unmute yourself if you wish. And Ilka, if I recall, you would go first. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Franziska, and hello from my side, everybody. My name is Ilkka Aaltio. What we were doing in Work Package 2 was an update of electrical mobility, like a status update at the designated themes in the Baltic Sea region, so in 8 countries basically, and these 5 themes. And we know that, of course, it's important to know where you are before you start working with development. And now everyone knows that electrical mobility is developing quite rapidly around Baltic Sea region. So we have many municipalities here who have recently invested in electrical mobility. Like, for instance, Helsinki region, where I am from, we have some 30 electrical buses started operating last year, and there were in Turku also 12 buses started to operate. So this is new development actually during our project. But in the beginning of our project, we did this stakeholder interview, and so we aim to get like a helicopter view on what is going on in all these countries. So we know that there is some differences, and it is great that we can learn from each other with these differences. So like in some areas, for instance, we found out that for electrical buses, the maintenance and service is a challenge still, because the electrical buses are not in wide use. But then in some areas, like for instance, city of Oslo or Germany, many places, it is in standard use and used very much. Also, like many municipalities have set goals on this reducing emissions, and a lot of emissions is actually dependent on the traffic, and so electrical mobility is therefore very interesting for as a strategic way to address this issue. Yes, Franziska, shall I go on with introducing the work package?
Yes,
Okay,
please
thanks.
do so. Yes.
Yes. The second point, some challenges what we found out here in our work. Of course, this coronavirus situation has uh, given some new challenges, but not so much to our work because the stakeholder survey was already finished before this virus epidemic came present, and so this was not so difficult. But of course, for our project and like the use cases with which we have worked with HSU in Helsinki with e-bike, with their great e-bike cargo bike experiments and e-bike promotion. For instance, a few days ago, they organized a virtual electric bike tour around Helsinki shores. And because of the virus situation, this could not be made like a big Helsinki Day event with many participants, but it was streamed online. So this kind of ways we have had to find out and to apply in the project. Okay, then actually about this stakeholder survey, there was also, of course, interesting to see really this transnational aspect because many areas have done great work in this electrical mobility. Like for instance, Oslo City, there's long-term commitment in electrical cars and e-buses, and now electric delivery vehicles and even electric ferries are on the table there, and like some other areas like Finland, we have already are only starting in this way where they are. So we can learn a lot from different places and not to do the same mistakes again. So in our stakeholder survey, we applied similar methodology for finding out this situation. So we found this to be an effective way. We agreed on like a questionnaire and made a similar assessment so that we can compare the different areas with each other. But of course, it was also possible that all local operators and regions they identified their own stakeholders. So this was like a collaboration work within the whole project.
One question in between, Ilkka, if I may interfere. There was a question from the audience, from Matthias, and he was asking that in this project, he's asking if we have been looking into what we could learn from China, or if we have just focused on the European scope of the project. I wonder if you could comment on that, and then maybe the colleagues could add as well.
Thank you. We in this stakeholder survey we were looking at our own area because of the focus of the Baltic Sea region, this project program, and but of course we know that there's a lot of advancement in Asia. They have some great ways to operate with it, but it's a completely different society and a different mechanism. I don't think that you can directly compare everything between the Baltic Sea region. But of course, we can learn from that. But it was not in the focus of our project.
I think, could I add a few things? The other output in our work package was the database of e-mobility solutions in the Baltic Sea region and beyond. I think Magnus was responsible, together with your colleague Ulla from Lindholmen Science Park, of this particular deliverable. I think you had something from China there, some initiative or something. I can't remember which it was.
Absolutely. In the state of the art study, we actually wrote some pieces about the development, especially about electric buses in China, because there are so many of them and they have such a huge experience. And also in this mapping, I think we did some stuff also. Absolutely.
So let me just round up. Basically, as we are, of course, in a European project, we first and foremost focused on the European perspective, but certainly we integrated newest and latest knowledge from all over the world as well. All right. Ilkka, back to you. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think I nearly used my slot for this discussion, but I still want to add something. So I think that what we really see that is useful is also this information of some areas, how they would do, if they would do like implementing e-buses or e-scooters, how if they have done it now, so then they can tell how they should do it. And so this information, what the stakeholders would do differently if they would start the process from the scratch. This is very useful, and this information could give some useful hints for any municipalities willing to introduce this electromobility in the future. So I think that later you will go to our team-specific recommendations, which is a great product of this project. But anyway, the work was kind of based on the stakeholder survey.
Thank you very much. Annika, anything from your side you would like to add in terms of the work package 2?
I think Ilkka was pretty thorough with the description. I think in like a general sense, I just like to say that it's so interesting to get a current view of the implementation of e-mobility solutions in our region, but also it was kind of a exciting to look at the quick progress there is in the field. So basically, you do feel like after a year, okay, there's been so many new things and so many new stuff that you just start wishing, okay, I hope our project could go on for years and years, which of course it cannot. But of course, there will be other funding possibilities, and I do think that the VP2, but also, of course, the other VPs will serve as a good starting point also for some future project we might want to plan, maybe together with other partners and stakeholders which have come out during this process of these studies we've done. So, but apart from that, I don't think I'll have too much to add. Yeah.
It's all good. That was already a very good key takeaway message. Basically, that is always useful to establish a baseline and then start monitoring against and observing future developments, especially in this very, very dynamic field of electric mobility. So with this one, I would like to hand over to our work package 3 lead, to Magnus Karlström from Lindholmen Science Park. And please, Martins, let us learn what were the most important outputs of your work package.
I think it's many different kinds of outputs, and I would really like to recommend people to watch the movies in this specific conference because they're very good summaries of learnings from the different applications in different cities. And also I would recommend that you check out the BSR Electric homepage, where they also have a very good summary of what the learnings are from the different use cases. But if I say something more specific about sort of general learnings from all of the use cases, I would say that all of them were very successful to actually achieve what the goal was from each use case. But they were very different what they're actually trying to achieve, because some of them were demonstrating, some of them were planning, and some of them were more about awareness campaigns, for example, for e-bikes. So they have sort of different learnings depending on what the goal of the different use cases mostly were about, I would say. And they also have different challenges, what were difficult. Some of them had difficult perhaps with technology issues, some of them with organizational issues, some of them with legal issues. But I think there are a lot of learnings from cities to actually learn what you can do if you want to implement different technologies in the future. So I think you have a lot of knowledge to get from the BSR Electric project. So that's sort of a general ideas. If I would say something more specific, I think they're very different learnings from the different use cases also. So I don't know, maybe some of Annika perhaps could help me of the use cases specific regarding Turku, Finland, this about e-cargo bikes. What was sort of the more specific learnings from one specific use case? Because we at Lindholm were mainly sort of coordinating. We were not doing the hard work at the ground level.
We concentrated on the electrification of city fleets, with one option being replacing some of the conventional cars or vans with e-vehicles, since it's really a fact that a lot of the trips done by people on their personal trip, but also during the workday, are actually done with a car, although the trips are like less than 2 kilometers long. So we wanted to observe or study if it would actually work to replace these vehicles with light electric vehicles, and it was really interesting to actually see how much it has to do with the attitude of the employees that are sort of targeted here. So it's I think most of the time, what I want to say is that we talk about technology and like, okay, technology is there. You you just have to buy the devices, but it's not always just that easy. So to my mind, in our use case, one of the main or one of the biggest findings was that you really do have to work to get actually your employees to using those devices, because it doesn't just work like this. There are issues to deal with, like, for example, in many of our BSR countries, we do have proper winters. So you do have to consider the facts of safety, for example, of using these light electric vehicles instead of cars. So it's a completely different matter.
So Annika, you mean the winter biking, I suppose, with the safety?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't know. Yes. Yeah, and you also have experiences of that in the Helsinki pilot. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, if I can interrupt,
sure.
I would just like to say that I think there were some great work done in these use cases, like for instance Denmark, Copenhagen, the delivery vans use in the city logistics. I think they were very successful, and even they are upscaling now there, and also in Helsinki, the HSI, the operator in Helsinki, our collaborator who was doing very good work with these use cases, promoting e-bikes and e-cargo bikes for houses and housing like communal use. But there was one challenge, I think, for instance, with these e-cargo bikes that are in like a block of flats, and they are used by everybody in this block of flats, all inhabitants. So in Finland, we had some challenges with limitations of law, because you have to provide equality for all inhabitants in the house. And so if somebody doesn't want to use the cargo bike, the e-cargo bike, and doesn't want to pay anything for it, so this might cause some challenges. But now they managed to tackle this very nicely, also with collaboration with some bigger rental house owners, and so they converted their testing to this direction. That's good way.
Yeah. If I may come back to one other use case that you already pointed towards, Ilka. We do have among our audience our colleagues from Denmark, and you noticed that I just handed over a virtual mic to Thomas and to Marie-Louise. So I wonder, Thomas and Marie-Louise, if you could comment a little bit on an aspect that also Annika touched, namely the importance of collaboration of different stakeholders in order to reach a defined goal. In this case, electrifying local deliveries. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about the use case 1 results?
Yeah, of course. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
very
great.
well.
Right.
Thanks. Hi, Thomas.
Thank you, Franziska. Hi, good to see you and hear you as always. Well, in short, of course, what we've experienced in Denmark is that by having a municipality, because Marie-Louise and we represent the municipality of Høje-Taastrup, And by engaging the local companies and by also having a network in the infrastructure companies, the car manufacturers or the OEMs, we actually made it possible just to do the feasibility studies and actually to get cars on the road and to examine real life scenarios. And I still believe that by doing that and by engaging as a municipality, you approach the companies, and the companies are more open towards projects when they also engage with the local municipality. So I believe that creating like a positive spiral, and instead of just waiting for things to happen, the municipality plays an active role and makes things happen, and it makes it easy for the companies actually to engage and to try things out without further costs. Then you are able to create projects like we did in Denmark, and we were very happy that we also succeeded in what we actually tried to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So for being like as a municipality standpoint is that don't wait for things to happen. You have to take the first important steps and approach the companies directly.
That's perfect. Very well. Thank you very much for sharing insights on this one.
Welcome.
Should we try to have another use case up on the scene, on the stage, Magnus? Should we maybe focus on the e-buses, because this is your use case on the one hand, and I have also noticed that our colleague Nicholas from Hamburg is in the audience as well. So if you allow, Thomas and Marie-Louise, we'll take away the speaking rights, take away the virtual mic and hand it over to Nicholas.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Let's see. But you could start, Magnus, by sharing some experiences on electrification or e-buses in Gothenburg, maybe.
Of course, we have several electric buses in Gothenburg right now driving around, and I guess you can see also some of the movies about electric buses, and they have actually made a delivery for 200 buses, I think, this year in Gothenburg. So they have sort of a huge strategy for electric buses, not only in Gothenburg, but in the complete region of Västra Götaland, which is the region around Gothenburg. So this will be a major development for electric buses, especially for city centers in Sweden, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically go by electric buses every day to work.
What a nice coincidence.
And
yes.
you could have done it also if you have the possibility to be here, but you couldn't, unfortunately. But it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Me
we
too,
wish
but
to have
not
been
in the
your
virus situation.
No, exactly.
Oh well. What about Hamburg, Nicholas? Could you share a little bit about the Hamburg use case?
Yes, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks for joining us. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so in Hamburg as well, we started last year with our cooperating public transport provider VHH to implement a couple of e-buses, first starting with 16 e-buses, and at the moment they have quite a large track record of operation, and the first steps of electrification in Hamburg were really successful. The feedback from the drivers was very positive. We have a survey ongoing very shortly, in a very short time, to see what the passengers think about the new e-buses. But I'm very positive that they will also like it, and that the feedback will be very, very great also from passenger side.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an important point you're touching, the kind of the passenger experience in a way. This is could be a very important feature to win back the trust and the confidence of the passengers of public transport, especially in these buses. So let's see what the outcomes of the survey are going to hold. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So. Any further use case we would like to put on stage? What about use case number 4? Monica, would you be willing to share a little bit with us? I've seen you in the participant list. Hold on. Let's see. While we are looking for Monica, maybe Merit, you could talk a little bit about the Riga experience. Would that be a possibility? Oh, she's gone now. There she's back. Hold on.
Hello.
Hello, Merit. Hello. Yes, now we can hear you again.
Yes, so I wasn't quite sure. You mentioned Riga possibility.
Yes.
Did you mean actual use cases from Riga, from Aya?
Oh, then I meant Aya. Sorry, apologies. Yes, but you could go on anyway. So hold on. Let me see. Aya was here as well, if I recall. There she is. Exactly. Thank you very much, Natalie. Aya, are you hearing us? Can you hear us? No, she cannot. Okay, then maybe we can play the ball back to Magnus, actually, with a question about the continuance beyond project end. How will the results and outputs of this very specific work package continue beyond the project end? Could you?
Of course, that will be up to the local actors, what they will do with the continuation, with the sort of the real demonstration of pilot projects, the real technology things. But I think a lot of the learnings are really well documented in those kind of checklists, which is a sort of an output of this project. It's possible to people to read how you can learn, what the sort of experience are from those different projects. But I would say that it's of course the decision of the local decision maker what we will continue with. But electromobility is rapidly it's much easier now to start a lot of projects because it's cheaper, it's more well developed, the technology is better, so it's easier to do it now than when we started of several of the technologies.
Okay, and now the final question also to you, to kind of close this this work package 3.1. What would be one key takeaway message based on the experience, the wide range of experiences of this work package for today's listeners?
I would say there are several actually, so I will actually say several. I think to be able to manage this kind of projects is very important to have the right kind of timing. And I think we have a very good timing when they did this project because several of the application was really sort of mature to start learning from them. So I think it's a very good timing of the complete project. And we will also like to say from Lindholmen Science Park to be able to sort of arrange this kind of very difficult kind of project because a lot of partners, a lot of different issues and challenges. I think it's very useful to have that kind of coordinator as you from Hamburg are, because it's very important to have this sort of experienced actor to coordinate the complete project. But in general, I would say about the electromobility issue also is that the development has improved rapidly. So I think the time is for a lot of more cities to actually try to implement those kind of technologies like e-ferries, e-buses. The time is now. So I think it's a little bit easier to actually implement now when we started also.
Okay, thank you very much, Manus. So this was a fine overview, and we were happy to highlight some of the use cases that we have. Feel free to explore the conference platform. Every use case is present there with a video. You can also touch base and interact with us in a dialogue in a set of discussion forums. So please feel free also to ask further questions there or get the contact data of the partner who implemented these solutions to engage in deeper conversations. So this basically leads me over to our fourth work package, and let me just flip back to the overview of the structure here again. The work package that basically addresses the capacity building perspective of our project. Merit, the floor is yours. Please talk a little bit what we did in this work package and what the outcomes, the most important outputs of this work package were.
Yes, sure. So hello, everyone. My name is Merit Tatar, and I am representing a research organization from Tartu, Estonia, Institute of Baltic Studies. And yes, we were coordinating work package 4, but also involved quite heavily in work package 2 in scoping tasks. In this kind of projects where demo cases or pilot cases are involved, they form the core of the project, and of course they are the most interesting part of such projects because something really happens in the field. But I think the success really lies also in those supporting activities as the baseline analysis before the pilot cases that we had, and I hope it also supported all use case leaders and people active in those tasks. And of course, work package 4, our work package has a really challenging task, because this now have had to package all this very intensive information coming from the use cases, and trying to package all this into a format and into materials that will be easily shared with the target audience, because we want to speak to other cities and other transport planners and people who are tackling the same issues. And here I really want to thank, of course, Hamburg University of Applied Sciences, and also Zero organization from Oslo, and Turku University, because you have done a great job, I think, which leads me to the main outputs that I think we can now proudly present. And of course, the most important output of this project that we can share with the broad audience is BSR Electric Roadmap, which basically captures everything that we learned from this project and from these different heterogeneous use cases. And what makes this output interesting is that a real lot of effort has put into how to make it readable to different target groups. And so we have actually this roadmap I think in 4 or 5 different formats. Some of them you can test out during this conference, because I noticed there is this virtual 3D app that you can download, and this leads you to like the specific use cases and the information related to that. And this roadmap will be in like different lengths and specifications. So each one can find something like useful and suitable for her or himself, I think. And this will be completely ready in September, like all versions of our roadmap. Another thing that actually was mentioned here already is theme-specific recommendations, which are very interesting material. I can just show a glimpse of it. So these will be basically 2-page materials in each of the e-mobility theme that we covered in the project. And it's a really easily readable documents for city planners and people active in the e-mobility, or who want to develop this field. And so everyone can go and take this checklist and basically follow the recommendations, and I'm sure that this is a really helpful material for you. And all this that will be part of the main output, which is BSR Electric Roadmap, and also what is in the theme-specific recommendations, are gathered and captured in our online learning module, which is an open access online learning module. You don't have to be afraid of that, because what I was also expressing in our own team discussions, that it tends to be that such materials are usually quite heavy, difficult to read, but I really encourage everybody to go and have a look at this module, because it's really interestingly set up. It's very easy, straight to the point materials and topics. You can easily navigate through the different themes, different facts and figures, but there's not a lot of heavy material. And also I really like how the recommendations have been set up through personas, so that basically you can play through the real cases in like possible city administration while tackling specific e-mobility themes. And I have a feeling that this has a great potential to foster impact and really share this knowledge, what we learned together jointly through our project use cases. Yes, and of course, today's final conference is one of central event in Work Package 4 as well. Regarding now the sustainability of those results, because there is always a threat, and sustainability of different project materials is a tricky thing, and when project ends, then websites will be closed and material will be there, but nobody updates them. So then we have decided to really keep this material on our website. I think it was until 2025, so quite a long time. And today's conference and online learning module will be there. And we think that these discussion forums and facilities that have been built into these channels help to keep the topics alive. And I also hope what was also mentioned here, that all those materials that have been produced in this very great and interesting project, that they can be a basis of new developments and new projects. And this is the end of one phase is actually the beginning of something new or a new phase. So I think if we manage to achieve that through our outputs and experience, then we have done a great job.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Merit, a question that goes well with your last words is, how can organizations which did not take part in this project access the results? And you mentioned already that we will have open access to the results and provide them way beyond a project end. I would like to highlight the role of the online learning module here, because this is a main tool besides, of course, the project website, where every results are already now available, except the final written piece of the roadmap document. However, everyone can access stuff there already. We did also embed this into the online learning module, which will have a life far beyond the project end. So everything that you have been presented to today in this session is somehow worked into this online learning module as well, that you can access around, so making it a maximum, allowing maximum flexibility of access and use there as well. I think I have one last question to you, Merit, before we can turn to answer the open questions from our audience. And Merit, what would be one key takeaway message based on the experiences made in this work package number 4?
Yes, I have actually several.
Oh my. Pick the most important, please.
Okay, if I have to pick the most important, then I would
Maybe
really, or maybe two, yeah. I would really highlight the power of networks, or like encourage everyone in such kind of projects to really use your networks in order to foster the knowledge sharing and yes, capacity building, because the power is clearly there. This can create a really good snowball effect and help to share this knowledge. So don't keep your contacts and networks in a secret, just share as much as you can and involve these contacts and networks, because that's the aim of such kind of collaboration, to really reach out to as many people and cities as possible. And another thing which I really liked in this project, next to many different things, is that how this joint collaboration has been set up, and while meeting together, that we really put the emphasis on joint learning and peer review. brainstorming workshops, for example, how we worked with the roadmap planning and team-specific recommendations, and of course supporting each other throughout use cases. So really a recommendation to future projects is that pay attention to that, to have those meetings as effective as possible, because a lot of intelligent people with different experience are there together, and we should always use this value. So it shouldn't be just like informing each other about the progress and so on. It can be done in maybe a different format, but really use this time to have like interactive problem-solving working sessions. I think this is a real value that comes out from these joint projects, based to, of course, the main outputs.
Thank you very much. There was a very nice key takeaways actually. And now I would like to open the floor for some pending questions. And we do start with a very short but very good question. Basically, is e-mobility green in the BSR? What would you answer to this question? Magnus, maybe we go first with you.
Can you please repeat the question, because I didn't hear the end of it?
Yes, is e-mobility green in the BSR? Mm-hmm.
In the BSR Pro?
Baltic Sea region, yes.
It's at least greener than many other options, and it could be really green in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. Anything to add, Ilkka, Annika, Merit? Maybe some...
I just want to join with Magnus. It's absolutely green, and we have seen like a trend of development during our project. Like at the early stage, in the beginning of the project, at the stakeholder survey, some critical issues were like the battery, like the lifetime or the capacity of the batteries. It's developing all the time. We see that with vehicles, and also the charging infrastructure was one of the critical things in like almost all regions, and that's also developing. So the more it becomes, the more green I think the e-mobility is.
Okay, this picks up very nicely in the second question that I would like to pose, which regards the future of e-mobility in the Baltic Sea region. Our audience would like to know, is it only a transitory green solution, or could it be the solution for green European mobility?
Maybe if I... Sorry.
Yeah.
if I comment to this, I think it's if it's I cannot say for sure if it's a transitory process or a phase. I think every mode of transport is basically a transitory phase. We have seen now 100 years of combustion engines, and we might see some years of electrical mobility, and but anyway, I think it's here to stay for a while, and it will help us to reduce the emissions and help us to save the world, basically.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. Thanks. Anything to join? Anything to add from the others?
Yeah, I think I'd like to add that I do agree with Ilkka. I think together with electromobility, I'd like to see the rise of or see how the active transport modes develop. So I do see those two, electric mobility and active modes of transport, just sort of moving us together towards the transitioning to a green Europe or the green mobility in the whole world. So yeah, I think those are two parallel issues or themes that need to be more focused in the future.
I maybe have a comment also, if it's...
Yes, go ahead.
I would argue that it's sort of electromobility is a very good choice for like cars and for buses and even for some trucks, but there are some transport modes that are much more complicated to electrify, like for example shipping or long distance aeroplanes. So I would argue that like mobility for some of the other modes will be very difficult to argue that there will be the only solution, electromobility, but you never know.
Well, coincidentally, we do have a live panel tomorrow on the electrification of commercial vehicles, of heavy-duty commercial vehicles.
Absolutely.
So feel free to drop in there as well, dear audience, and check out the latest insights in this area as well. Very nice lead over, Magnus. I do have another question that regards a detailed question on driving ability. It was written in one of the presentations, probably the use case presentations. It was stated that driving ability was affecting the used energy of up to 30%. So really decreasing the driving performance, basically. I guess it is related to the e-buses. Is this something that will be studied further in this or coming work packages? I think this question also goes to Nicholas, and maybe Natalie, you could add him to the speakers once more. And Magnus, could you maybe highlight some of the ongoing research also in some of the other projects that you have in Gothenburg?
I'm not sure I understand the question in this case either. What was kind of the drivability, sort of the...
No, it was actually the performance and how the driving basically may affect performance. This is how I understood the question.
Okay, maybe Hamburg should answer first then, because I don't know really.
Right.
So is it something that should be studied further? I think the better or the correct question would be, what do we do with this knowledge? So the data we have and also other data sources show that it can even be higher, even up to 50% difference in energy usage. So, but on the other hand, we can use this knowledge to our advantage. So we can address it and think about measures, for example, feedback systems for the drivers so that they can actively monitor the driving efficiency, maybe online or offline feedback systems. You could think about things like apps where you see your aggregated driving efficiency and you can work proactively to increase it. Or you could, for example, make up something like competitions between drivers who has the most efficient driving style. This could also be implemented anonymously so that only you know your personal driving efficiency. I think this is more the idea. So what do we do with this knowledge of driving style affecting the energy consumption? And there are surely a lot of very interesting and innovative approaches we can do to decrease this impact.
Absolutely.
Super. Anything to add from your end, Magnus?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a good project idea to continue developing different approaches to get good energy efficiency.
Yeah, and I'm very happy that we have so many company partners as well, who are linked to basically directly or closely linked to all the project partners. So that also the project results and ideas and activities that we pursued in the frame of this project may live on beyond the project end. We are coming slowly to an end of this webinar, and I would like not yet to thank you, but give the word to our dear colleague Isabel Andersson from the hosting organization Gothenburg. Isabel, can you hear us?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Exactly. Yes, I would like to hand over.
Lovely.
Isabel is the key organizer of this virtual conference, and I was hoping that she may share with you in this live session also what's coming up tomorrow, basically, and maybe invite you to explore some further interesting parts of our conference platform, which you may not have seen yet or explored.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much for this premiere first live session. Very interesting and listening into, and I want to recommend all of you who's listening right now to, if you haven't already, you should definitely take part of the BSR electric use cases presentations that's already uploaded on the platform. because today the focus is being the BSR electric use cases and everything evolving around it. And tomorrow we will continue on electrification and sustainable mobility with focus on our 2 live panels, one at 11 o'clock and one at 2 o'clock. And I really hope that you will join us there. And you can register by clicking the tiles on the platform. So after this this session today, I would like to just explore the platform a little bit more and see what's coming up tomorrow. And I will also come back to you with a list of suggested content that you can take care of tomorrow. And yes, I just want to say that I'm very, very excited to see you all here, and I'm excited on continuing tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Isabel. There were some little technical troubles, but I hope you got the main messages. So there are 2 more live panels tomorrow that we warmly invite you to join as well. And please keep on exploring the platform. We have many, many goodies there, interesting insights, and you can continue interacting with us and discussing with us via the various blackboards there. So please make use of this opportunity. We are alive and kicking, interactive, fully interactive this day and the next day as well. Afterwards, of course, the platform will stay open, but we will need to get some sleep again afterwards. So having said this, thank you very much to the panelists, Annika, Manus, Mayrit, and Ilka for their contributions. Thank you also very much, dear project partners, for your great and excellent work over the past years. And also looking ahead onto the forthcoming month, the partners will surely promote the results more widely as well, to spread the word about these great results, about the impact that our project has made, and also about the possibility to look into all of the results even after project end. So thank you very much for being a part of today's session. This session has been recorded, so everyone can check back and listen again if you may have missed anything. Thank you very much for today. I wish you a pleasant day and hope to see you again, or see you, well, continuously on our platform. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.